Hello, 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 Rise Up Nation. We're here for another episode, an edition of a live stream that we're doing called Rise Up in Real Estate, and it is live. Today we're live, and so who knows what might happen, but we're excited to meet some folks and just chat about what's going on in real estate. We will go. I should have told my guests this before we started. We'll go for about an hour. If for some reason we really have a hot topic at the hour mark, we'll just finish that idea and then we'll cut. But we are just going to talk real estate. And that's what Rise Up in Real Estate is all about. Is my goal is to kind of discover the extra in the ordinary people. So you come on here as an ordinary person, but I promise at the end of the show, we'll be like, wow, that's pretty cool about Linda. That's pretty cool about Kelly. So, and then just so you'll know, we'll do this. There'll be some viewers that will pop on here probably. I don't know if Vince is sharing it on his pages yet, but it's being put on YouTube and Facebook, a couple of places, and being watched. So what we'll do is do the hour show. And then those of you that are listening to me on the podcast platforms, you know that this is going to be turned into the Rise Up in Real Estate podcast that will air next Monday, like the one today was from last Monday's live show. So that's where we're headed with this. We have a lot of people all over the world that listen to us. Believe it or not, it kind of surprises me that we have the traction that we have, but I'm proud of it. So I want to just start by saying we're in coastal South Carolina. At least that's where the show is being hosted. We have people from all over. I'd just like to start by letting our guests introduce themselves and just tell us, guests, if you don't mind. Vince, we'll start with you since you're the least, and he's got ear pods in. Let's see how his audio is after we just talked about it. Tell us who you are, like where you, maybe where you were born, just for curiosity's sake, and then we'll get the rest of it in discussion further on. Vince, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Tad. Yeah, we're live on the Rise Up page, RE/MAX Southern Shores Facebook page, my personal page. The top right, you guys can link all your pages for your viewers as well. So I was born in Rock Hill, South Carolina, just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, about 30 minutes from Charlotte, and moved to North Myrtle Beach. Oh man, I was like a year and a half, 2 years old maybe. So local, native, whatever you want to call me, big proponent of the Grand Strand, what we call our stretch of the beach here.
And Vince, isn't it true that, like, I don't know if I'm spilling your news or beans or what, but did you sign this morning at 8? Is everything official?
Yes. I closed on a property at 8 a.m. this morning.
Oh, congratulations.
And thank you. Our buyers, it's funny, I had to give the lawyer an IOU because it's a three-way deal where everyone's money is helping other people's money to purchase and move. So my buyers of my home, whose funds I need, don't actually sign until this afternoon. So we're homeless, which is cool.
Yeah. So that's interesting. An IOU, that's wow, that's a big story. I'm sure none of us have ever done that for a client, but for ourselves, that's pretty impressive. Vince is the co-host, so Vince is on every episode. Vince, welcome to the show. Proud to have you here. Let's go to Erica. Why don't you tell us, Erica, who you are, where you were born, and maybe how long you've been in real estate?
Yes, I was born and raised in Maryland. I went to college in Maryland. I met my husband at college, and we started our family in Maryland. We were we grew up in different parts of Maryland, but when we started our family, we were north of Baltimore in Harford County. And then we've only been down here in Myrtle Beach for 3 years, and I've been in real estate for 1 year.
And she has 3 children,
yes.
Right? And acts and seems like she doesn't have any. Like she's always just seems so together. It's miraculous. And guess what, Erica? Today I am a Baltimore Ravens fan.
Okay.
Because they punched the Cowboys right in the chin, and I love it. I hope I don't have any Cowboy fans on here. That might be a bad way to start. But anyway, I was proud of that. So welcome to the show, Erica. I'm proud that you're here. Excited to hear more of your story as we get going. Hey, Vince, how about my shirt?
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
You like it?
Hey,
Rennie says no T-shirts allowed, but this one's an exception. So, Deborah, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're born, and how long you've been in real estate?
Okay, well, I was actually born in the Bronx, New York, which is sometimes people go, oh, really, the Bronx? Yep, so I'm born in New York City. I was raised mostly in New Jersey, about 45 minutes outside of the city, went to college in Boston. believe it or not, here's a little point of something that'll resonate with everyone. I started my television career in Florence, South Carolina.
Oh yeah.
So I used to cover news in Myrtle Beach and Florence and Dillon and all those areas around there. And then made my way to Greensboro, North Carolina, where I did television until 2002. And then I've been selling real estate ever since. And the interesting story that I shared with Tad is that my son went missing for about 6 or 7 hours. I didn't know where he was. My news director wouldn't let me leave work. And that set me on a different journey and a path that I felt that God was leading me down. And here I am 22 years later, still selling real estate.
Awesome. Doesn't that make you just want, like, this is exactly why I do the show. Exactly the reason is I have to know the stories about what's behind what makes Deborah. That's why I love Linda. That's why I'm getting to know Erica. But Deborah, were you an anchor woman?
Yes.
What was your, okay. Doesn't she just seem like an anchor woman? Like, wouldn't you watch her? I would totally watch her channel, whatever that is. And I need a new one. I need a new one. So if you get back into it, let me know. Cause I'm kind of tired of the news, actually. But I feel like I'm just comfortable looking at you and listening to you. So I bet.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Lots of stories there. Kelly, we'll go around the horn here. Tell us where you're from, Kelly. I don't think I know that about you. And then how long you've been in real estate.
I was born and raised in Gaffney, South Carolina, which is probably about an hour or so from Rock Hill, where Vince was. I met my husband and moved to Bowling Springs, South Carolina, which was about 30 minutes away. And about 7 or 8 years ago, we had always said we wanted to, be at the beach. We vacationed here all of our lives, really, all of our kids' lives. And just every year we were down here multiple times. His job allowed us to transfer him down here to Horry Georgetown Tech. And I was able to work remotely. COVID hit. I got permanently laid off. I worked with El Salvador and Honduras and packaging, printing. And so it was like, okay, now what do I do? My husband said, you need to go into real estate. I was like, okay. So in November of 2020, I got my real estate license, and here I am today.
That's amazing. Just by
He was
chance.
right.
Yeah, he was exactly right. I was going to say he's a prophet. So your husband's a prophet. That's nice to know.
Yeah. I was going to say, Erica from Maryland, don't freak out. We've got the PD, Gaffney, and Rock Hill. It's going to get real country, okay? So just hang in there. Linda, I'm not sure where you're from yet, but we'll see where this goes.
Yeah, that accent that Kelly has is legit. Like you can't make that up. So I'm so happy that she's on the show. And if there's anybody listening out there that wants to, you guys can throw a question up in the comment section, and I will try to find it. Actually, there might be one already. I'm not looking at the comment. Look, there's already something up there. Oh yeah, Sabrina's on. Sabrina, hey, welcome. Sabrina's down in Charleston. So Deborah, you'll meet Sabrina eventually. Love to see you on here, Sabrina. So if you guys want to throw questions up, we'll address them, and we're not embarrassed. We'll talk about whatever we need to talk about. Linda, I'm so happy that you're here. Linda is like a warm hug from Ohio, and I'm so glad that you're here. Linda, tell us where you were born and how long you've been in real estate.
All right. So I was born in Manhattan, Kansas. I'm going to pull you guys off the East Coast here.
There we go.
And grew up in Kansas, went to the University of Oklahoma, cut my teeth in real estate in 2001 as I was licensed in Iowa, Nebraska, South Dakota. And so my husband's an illustrator. American Greetings came calling, brought us out to Ohio. And me with an attitude, because I had just left a successful career back in Iowa, and I didn't know anybody there, and I didn't know anybody here. So I am now the broker owner of the largest RE/MAX in the state of Ohio. So
awesome. Right. No biggie. No big deal.
No big deal.
He was a prophet too. He just didn't realize that your husband brought you to some place you didn't want to go, and then look at where you are. How cool is that?
Exactly. So I'm actually on the North Coast, because Lake Erie is about 1.5 miles north of me here.
Well, there you go. We have that in common. And hey, did you hear that accent? Isn't that nice? It's just Midwestern or something, but it's Iowa, huh? And Vince, did you notice? She almost said North Dakota. She said South
He did.
Dakota. Didn't you do a little bit of service in North Dakota?
I did. I had a little shiver down my spine when you said that because I was stationed when I was in the Air Force, a leaner version of who you see now in North Dakota, about half an hour south of the Canadian border where it gets negative 40. It was absurd. So you can have that.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah,
they,
we appreciate.
Did they refer to you guys as the Nodex and the Sodex?
Yeah, Nodax. And the city was called Minot, and people would say, "Why not Minot?" And I would say they would give you a whole bunch of reasons why not. For sure. Yep.
So Vince, we appreciate your service. One of the things I love about Vince, one of my favorite things, and he doesn't ever talk about it, just like most people in the military. It's probably a good thing I wasn't in the military because I talk about so many things, but people in the military don't talk about it. Like they're very, very proud, but very quiet. But he actually tell us what you did at Arlington, Vince. I just think that's so fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a Rise Up episode where I get a little deeper into this that you guys can refer back to. Maybe I'll link it in my comments after. But I was what you would call your operations officer for all of the Air Force interments or funerals in Arlington National Cemetery for about 3.5 years.
Oh, wow.
So I've got several hundred of those ceremonies under my belt, probably, or it will be the most honorable, contribution I had during my service time. And it's a really special place. If you have half a day or one day in DC because you're passing through, forget all the museums, forget all that. Go to Arlington National Cemetery and just walk. And reflect.
Imagine that's so humbling.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And you even tell them about the lady, what do you call her? The Arlington lady or the something?
Yeah. So there's a really cool job. Their government employees are called Arlington ladies, and they show up to every single military funeral to ensure that no veteran is buried alone. And you'd be surprised. You don't think that would ever happen, but we have, sometimes folks don't have anyone left or just who knows, but we would always give the flag to someone for sure.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Cool.
My grandfather had a full military funeral, and it just reminds me of how thankful I am. Our country's in a weird spot, but it's the foundation of it's so solid. And Vince, I appreciate you protecting that part. You see, Sabrina said, as a Nova native, it's one of the best things you can do.
Nice.
That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
Nova's a good place. I married a Richmond VCU nurse graduate, so we did 5 years in Nova. So very cool.
That's
Sabrina.
funny. I tell Vince is a lot like me. He outkicked his coverage, is what we call it. Marry up. I definitely married up. So all your husbands, if you're married, all your husbands can relate to that. So, well, thanks for sharing that stuff to get started. That's exciting. That's cool. This is who I am. Like, it makes me want to ask 100 questions that we probably shouldn't ask about where you guys are from. Let's talk a little bit about, there's two things I want to talk about, unless some of our guests throw some other stuff at us. And Vince, you might have some questions too. But one thing I want to talk about is success, like the definition of success. And, you're on here because I deem you as successful in some way, but I want to hear from you. Like what is success for you and how do you achieve it if you do? And I'll let I want to ask anybody specifically to share, and you don't all have to share, but I know that there's a couple of you I'll call on.
Well, I actually have some thoughts on that specifically. Yeah. I think 22 years into doing real estate and helping people is the main reason why I get up every day. Like for me, that's what trips my trigger. So whether it's in real estate or life, if there's something I can do to help others, that's great. Mm-hmm. So I find a lot of joy in just being able to explain the process of real estate. I'm working with a guy who's 50 years old, but he's never purchased his own house. And so it's really cool to get on the phone with him yesterday and just help him through the lending process as he's trying to navigate through new construction. But one of the greatest compliments to me at this point in my career as a real estate agent is that I have helped families 2, 3, and 4 times that they return to me, whether it's them buying again or selling and buying again, or it's help mom, and the mom's now sending me her, married son, and, they're looking for a house. And I think that it just epitomizes, if we put people first, the rest of it follows. And so the referrals come, the money comes when people become our priority. And so that's how I've always worked in my business, and life hasn't always been easy. When I got into real estate, I left a career of 16 years. I left the salary, the benefits, and all the things. My husband had gone to a job that he thought was good for him, and at the same time, they merged with another bank, and so we both lost our salaries. And I was doing real estate, and I was working at Berkshire at the time, and it was the only time they had ever offered a draw, and they gave me a draw to survive. But we literally could not put food on our table, and I was in my 30s at the time. Long story short is, I just always went along the premise of take care of people and money will take care of itself, even when I could not put food on my table and nobody ever knew. And so there's always interesting stories. I'm sure we all have one, but I think that for me, again, I live my life by a deep faith, and I just poured myself into him, and just, there's a ton of testimonies on another day over, wine or coffee. I can share some pretty amazing stories about that time of my life. But I love the business of real estate, and I love helping people. That's success.
So success for you is helping people achieve whatever they're trying to achieve. And I'm sure I saw some head nods when she said that. Tell me though, because I've got a son who happens to be just starting the real estate business. I also have a son still in diapers, which is really bizarre. But
True story.
I think.
by the way,
Not the same son. Not the same son.
No. Just so we're clear, Lawson is not in diapers. That's not. He's probably on here. He's probably listening, rolling his eyes. But anyway, does helping people, is that in your nature, or is that something that goes away, or I mean, how do can you create that, or is it just what you have to have in your DNA, in your opinion, Deborah?
Well, I'm going to give you my opinion, because I think that there might be 6 different opinions on this, but I do think it's a wiring. I think it's something that has just been a part of who I am, and because that's why it makes it easy. It doesn't feel hard to me to help others. In fact, like my client was apologizing to me on Saturday for talking to me, and I was like, well, selfishly, this brings me joy. Like, it brings me joy to be able to help you navigate through this, because it's an important part of this process. You're alone. And so if I can help you break it down, see the things that I've learned over the last 20 years, since this is your first time, then that makes me happy. So anyway, that's kind of how I look at it. I do think it's a wiring, in my opinion. Okay,
awesome. Good word. Somebody else talk to me about success. Eric, I'd love to hear you speak on it, because you and Kelly both just have really exceeded expectations this year. Talk to me about success a little bit. You see, my son is not. That son's not in diapers. I'm proud of that. Super proud of that. Yep.
Yep. I think being so new, I mean, really so new still, is success for me was really, first of all, passing that real estate test, which was a lot. And then of course, getting your first client and having your first transaction and having your first closing, that was really my definition at first of success. But as I'm getting further into this, I think really for me, success is just finding that work-life balance is really important to me and my family. And then, I think the next steps would probably be a lot of the things that Deborah's talking about, is just seeing all of those clients, happy, and then referring you, and then, following up with everybody, and just seeing everyone so happy and feeling good about where they've ended up in their home or in their process. So I kind of see it as a couple different parts for me right now in the beginning.
Yeah, Vince, I'll ask you, kind of put you on the spot, because you've watched Erica from the very beginning. Like, you introduced us to Erica at our company, and was just amazed by that. But tell me what you think. Why has she been? Maybe tell us why she's at RE/MAX Southern Shores. You wanted to tell that story, and then why you think she's experienced really. You guys don't know this, and she won't talk about it, but really unprecedented success in her first year. It's been really, really cool to watch. Vince, talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I'll talk about Erica Atkins. Erica Atkins is well on track to exceed, 6 figures in gross commissions in year 1. So pretty cool. I call Erica so I'm what you call a director of opportunity, right? So I've taken a step back from actively selling real estate to help find the right agents for the right reasons for our specific company here at the beach where we're at. So Erica, I call her the greatest agent I never hired. And that's because Erica hired herself after our interview. She went ahead and sent her form, had that license transfer done. I had another interview with her in my mind, planned for the future, and we're going to get a little deeper and make sure we're the right fit and all that. But Erica decided we were the right fit for me. And boy, that was the best decision I'd ever made. So that's how Erica's here. So confidence is probably part of it. Follow Erica Adkins on social media if you don't. When she says balance, she means it. From the driveway picnics with the neighbors and the kids, to the morning workouts with her and hubby, to the showings, to the prepping for listing appointments. Erica Adkins has balance figured out. And that's definitely important for sure as we talk about success in this industry, which I was happy to see. A lot of times we'll see brand new, associates. I think we're supposed to call agents now, real estate associates, kind of just pour everything into the business and forget about some of the stuff that really does matter a bit more. And Erica's done a great job of keeping that, those priorities in line. So well done.
Thank you. Yeah, that was, I don't think I realized I actually hired myself until I think it was a few months ago. I sent Vince a message and I was like, did I do that? I think I did that. And he's like, yeah.
Yeah, it's all good. I mean, we knew it was going to be fun. You were coming. You were getting the invite anyway. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. That's a cool story. That's the kind of person you want, though, in this business. If you don't have belief in yourself, you're finished pretty much. Mm-hmm. Linda and Kelly, you have anything you want to add to the conversation on success from your perspective?
I do. Go ahead, Linda. Yeah. I read a book and it said at the very beginning, define what success is to you. Is it the financial goal or in a job well done? And it was like, oh, that resonates with me. And so, my whole thing was, like you, Deborah, I took care of the people and everything else followed. And so one of the things now as a broker and an owner, success for me is still in a job well done. I love nothing more than when one of the agents has a tangly situation and we can get to the end of the conversation, have a good laugh, and they can go, oh, I feel so much better. That is my paycheck. And, it's really about, sharing your expertise, sharing your education. And as a past middle school teacher and a coach, that was just wired in me to do that because, as a teacher, if I hang on to all the information, the kids are going to struggle getting out. So I took that same tact with my business and then also, with what I'm doing, with running the company. So I think that book was just an eye opener because everything else was very formulaic. And it was for the first time, somebody said, who are you? And then based on that, this is how you build your business.
What I love, if I can chime in real quick, is Linda. So 22 years doing this, of course, I've learned a ton, but I still at times call my broker in charge. And I think that's so cool that you find joy at helping your agents or associates, I guess, Vince, we're supposed to call them. So, but I think that is so wonderful because sometimes, broker owners don't have the time or, they're hard to reach or those kinds of things. And I think it's absolutely wonderful that that's a priority for you. And I'm sure that's part of your success.
Well, I charge them because if they call up and say, I'm sorry to bother you, that's $5. I know you're busy. That's another $5. That goes to charity. It goes on their bill and it goes to charity. Because aren't we all busy? And why don't apologize? Because I love talking to the agents, and through their experiences, there's going to be another agent that's going to call and have that same situation. I've got more to draw on because we had a bunch of interaction at the first round, and then I can bring a different level of expertise to the second conversation. So, no more apologies, just donations to charity.
And I think you're touching on something, in my opinion, that's kind of why I love news. There's something different every day. And it's the same thing with real estate. and you're drawing from everybody's experience is different. Every day is different. Every transaction is different. Everything is different. And that's what makes it interesting and continuing to be challenging and fun. So that's another great point, Linda.
And you're super qualified if you dealt with middle school students, because clients are just like middle school students, and we'll leave it at that. What was the name of the book? You know the name?
It was called Your First Year in Real Estate. And I
Okay.
read it in about my
Nice.
6th or 7th year in real estate.
Oh, good. Probably one we could all read again, obviously. Kelly, you have anything you want to add? Because Kelly's like, what I call Kelly is, she's the consummate giver. Like, I've seen her no less than 10 times, and I don't see her very often, but I've seen her no less than 10 times sitting in the room after a class, helping a colleague for nothing, just to help a colleague. So, Kelly, what would you relate? And she's the silent assassin too. Like, her business is rolling, and yet she doesn't ever talk about it. So I'm going to ask her to do something she's not comfortable with. Tell us what success means to you, Kelly, if you have anything to add.
Success means to me, well, just like Deborah said, I'm a helper. I love to help people. To me, the knowledge that I have gained and I'm able to share, to me, that's all the success I need. You know, yes, I love selling houses. That I found what I wanted to do when I grow up. Finally, took long enough, but this has been the most. Yeah, I mean, this has been the most fun, aggravating, stressful. I love it. It's just I thrive. I thrive in it, and the more I can learn, the more successful I feel like I can be. So learning, I guess, for me is that, and then another note, knowing that I have done this myself. I didn't have to buy leads. I didn't have to do this. I've proved to myself, and to me, that means that I think that's the biggest success to me is I did this, and that means the world to me.
It's so interesting that one of the first things I remember talking to Kelly before she came to our company, and this is not even though you might see the Remax logo pop up or it's on Vince's lapel, it's not a Remax commercial necessarily, but we all believe in it. Obviously, when I'm talking, and Vince will remember this, talking to Kelly before she came on board, her main concern was, can I do it myself? Like, I'm so used to not having to, right? She was at a place that provided leads for her. And the big hurdle, if I'm telling it right, Kelly, is, can I do it myself? Well, how proud are you that you did? I mean, and you do it way better than you did when somebody was telling you how to do it with their leads.
Yeah, it's beyond like jump up and down, scream and shout. I did this, I knew I could, but the way I did it and how I did it, I have no idea how I did it. I just did it. It's
we know how you did it. You showed up every day. That's how you did it.
Exactly. You show up, you go to these classes, you learn. And I think if I wasn't a learner and I didn't have that drive behind me to know more and to learn more and, just to do it, then I wouldn't be where I am now. And my goal and my desire to be relationship based versus transactional was huge, and I knew that would take my business to the next level. And the relationships that I build with people are my pride and joy. So,
hey, one thing I was just thinking as I'm listening to everybody, especially with all the changes that have just taken place. There's sometimes a general and not educated consensus, quite honestly, because people don't understand that we truly do run a business and that there are expenses to the business, and successful agents have to think about what they're doing as a business, not just a job, right? But there's this consensus that we don't necessarily earn, what we earn. Like we don't have the value. And after 22 years, I can say that I truly do provide a really important service to my clients. I have the confidence in knowing, like, I've saved money for my clients. I mean, just had a seller, I saved him $2,700 because they asked to seal the crawl space. And, I renovated a 100-year-old house. I've built 3 houses, worked for a general contractor. I knew that what they were asking for wasn't true. So I was able to gather the evidence and create a picture and send it to the buyer's agent and save that client $2,700. And he was thrilled and he was ready to pay. Right. And I was like, we're not paying because we're going to go prove that they're wrong. So everybody here that's talking, I mean, they've taken what they're doing and they're helping people first and foremost, but they're creating a business secondly, and most importantly, providing a service for people in one of their most important investments of their life. And that's no joke. And I think it's just really important for people to understand that with those changes that have taken place, that we earn every dollar if we're doing the right job. And everybody on this panel is obviously doing the right thing for their clients that they're helping.
I just want Deborah to say breaking news. Like, I just want her to say breaking news. I'm just looking at her going, she's got to say it. How fascinating. Deborah, if you're not using that platform, I know 22 years in, you might have forgotten it, but you could definitely use that platform for if you're not doing video, you got to be doing video, right, Vince? Anyway.
It's so funny. I will just say this real quick on that. I have always had a hard time talking about myself because in journalism, it was always about like when journalism existed, when I did it, because it doesn't really exist anymore, guys. But when I was doing it, you presented the facts and then you went on and you talked about other people. You didn't really talk about yourself. You presented the information. And so I was just talking to a very, very successful agent in our market. And she's just killed it with video. And I said, Melissa, I should have been the first person here doing video. And she looked at me and she said, you think? And so I am trailing behind on that, to be honest, but I do still love that part of it. I'm a creative person, but it is, again, that became a part of who I am. So I am actually hiring a social media person. It's going to be a little bit expensive, but I've decided to take the plunge and I start in October doing more of that so she can tell me what to do. And I can say, it's not me, it's her.
I mean, how about 22 years in doing something new? I love it. Love it. Hey, lightning round. And then we're going to go to a question that Bruce Turman just gave us in the chat. Lightning round. I got 2. Favorite food, Vince?
Oh God, I can't do this to me. I like all foods. My wife's next to me. What's my favorite food? Quick. What?
Wings. Hot wings.
No, wings. Yeah.
Even I knew that. I mean, I knew that.
I'm like, I don't want to make the wrong choice. I like it all.
Yeah. Clearly, somebody my size doesn't have one choice. Kelly, you're muted, but I'm going to go to Erica, and then we'll come back to you. Erica.
I'm going to have to say chips and guac.
Oh, yeah. Love it. We went to Costco yesterday, and they had how they have the samples that slows everything down.
Everything.
They had one that was guac, and my daughter made me go to it 5 times. It was the craziest thing. So at least it wasn't chocolate. I mean, I was kind of impressed that there was a vegetable remotely in what she liked. Linda, favorite food?
Terrible sweet tooth. White cake, lots of frosting, the corner with the flowers.
Oh gosh.
I met someone else that loves white cake. I love white cake. I'm not a chocolate guy. I mean, well, except for Reese's. But I love white cake. I'm so glad to know that about you. Deborah, favorite food?
I was going to say steak until Linda just opened up the sweet. I love sweets. I'm like you, Linda. It's definitely goes right to the brain, makes you feel happy. I do.
Yes.
Too. Yes.
And Kelly.
I think I would be ill-spoken if I didn't say sweets, since I do bake cakes.
Oh, Linda, did you catch that? Linda, Kelly bakes cakes. You caught that,
yes.
right?
I caught that too. I got your name down on my pad. I might be calling it.
I hear they freeze and travel very well.
Yes, I could pack them in dry ice. And, Tad, have you had the peanut butter Reese cake that I've made yet?
Is it at the office?
When I brought it in.
Is it at the office today?
No.
Oh, well, no, I haven't, but I will. Next time you let me know.
Okay.
I'll definitely be there for that. That's interesting. All right, we've got another question rolling in here. By the way, I will share, Vince, one of us will share each of your email addresses, if it's okay, in the show notes and attach it also to this broadcast so that people can contact each other. And that's part of the beauty of the show is like we've got Lori White on here and she's listening to Erica maybe for the first time. And if there's something in common, we want you guys to connect. So here's Bruce's question. Bruce, we appreciate you being a faithful listener. You're 100%. You've been on every episode so far, both of them, and we appreciate it. Here's a good one. What are your biggest challenges? And we don't have to, everybody doesn't have to answer that, but we'd love to hear from a few of you. Go ahead.
I know mine is systems and processes, and that's what I'm working on now is trying to get everything, because I'm a fly by the seat of my pants girl. And that's why I do what's that task. And then I'm like, oh crap, I didn't do that. Or, oh, I need to do this. I got to remember to do that. And then my to-do list is 10 miles long. If I would just take the time to sit and just do it. So that's what I'm working on and that's my biggest challenge has been my system and processes.
Mhm.
Excellent. Anybody else got that same challenge? Yes. Anybody else have a challenge they want to share? Bruce is an agent in our North Myrtle Beach office, by the way, and I love that picture of that. Can y'all see the picture of the starfish? I love the fact that the starfish has made it like it's crawled a little bit. I love that. It's making his way.
I would say
Anybody?
paperwork. I just don't care for paperwork whatsoever, and I put it off as long as I can. I got a attorney sheet sitting right here that's been sitting on my desk for about 5 days. I'm like, oh, I still have 3 weeks till that closing happens. So I do not care for paperwork at all.
Yeah, both you and Kelly could use a transaction coordinator. If you're not, it gets rid of half of it. My son just had is getting ready to have his first 2 closings, and I said, "Did you do all the work yourself, or did you use a transaction coordinator?" And he said, "Well, now I'm gonna try to learn." And I'm like, I don't know if I try to learn. I might just give it right over to transaction coordinator right away. Anybody else with a challenge? And Bruce, if you throw your biggest challenge, Bruce, in the comments if you want to, maybe we can talk
I think
about it.
Linda's got one for us.
Yeah, go ahead, Linda.
Yeah, you know what I see is probably a universal challenge right now in the business and then just in life in general is keeping your head square. You know, really protect what's between here and don't let anything come in and take up rent for free. You know, really prioritize your day, really take care of, you know, I was talking with an agent who said, you know, I'm an over processor. And I said, and how's that working for you? Because that's a lot of free rent in your head when there's better, you know, productive things that you can do. So I think right now with everything going on in the world and the changes in the real estate industry, it's keeping your head square.
I love that.
I do
Good
too.
one. Vince, you got one, or Erica, you
No,
got a challenge? You want to share?
Linda's dead on. It's the noise, right? So
Mhm.
the cool thing about how we like to think where we're at is we think in terms of abundance, right? So the key thing is Tad Shirt will say #abundant life, but once you've defined what that looks like for you, I'm a little bit of a data-driven guy, so I get to quiet all the noise and say, oh, I only need 27 transactions. That's 27 people I need to trust me, that know, like, and trust me this year. And I, based on my goals, based on how I want my life to look. What that does is that kills all the extra noise of, maybe some things you've heard a little bit in your head, Deborah, who's on socials, who's doing this new system, who's hosting this event, So I try to simplify it by just, defining how I want it to look and putting a number to it. And it kills all that extra noise,
Yeah, right out of your business about 10,000 feet. Look at the moving parts and put the important ones on top and then fly back down and attack.
Yeah. And you don't have to sell every house. Agents, the stat is that, 5 years is a rarity for an agent to make it 5 years as a new agent. Well, it's probably because a lot of that they've been listening to a lot of extra stuff, I would say. That's irrelevant to their business. It's irrelevant to your vital daily actions, as we all know. And I just break it down into simplicity and kill that noise.
That's good. Erica, you have anything to add? Or you want me to move along to the next topic?
I would agree a lot with what Vince and Linda are saying, but I think, I mentioned one of my definitions of success would be the work-life balance, but I can also, sometimes that's also a struggle too, and really having to put up boundaries, and especially being newer, I just want to dive in and learn all the things and do all the things, and I just need to sometimes respect that and close the laptop or revisit it tomorrow, or just some of that extra noise things.
I will say, Erica, I think it's so great that you're thinking about that, because I think, again, all of us probably on this screen, we are, we're high performers. I'm trying to be careful with my words here, but we're high performers, and high performers who are successful have a hard time placing boundaries. My kids are now grown, but when my kids were your age, I had a hard time putting those boundaries in place. And I do think something for starting is going into it, as you're saying, you're just diving in, which I think most of us probably do. But there's another agent I was talking to just recently, and her kids are young, and we're in Greensboro, and inventory is tight across the country, but it's really tight here. We haven't grown the way I wish we would have grown, which is just government story, different time, different day. But I was like, just enjoy if you can, because she's a broker owner. I'm like, just try to enjoy these 3 little girls that you have in the moments that you have, because it'll all change and it gets busy, and then you get the crazy part and you can't do it like you wanted to. And so, and I wish I would have done more of that, but I didn't do it. I didn't do it very well. And so it's cool that it's a priority for you, because before you know it, mine are 23 and 21. And I'm like, wow, when did that happen? Yeah, I think it's great that you're doing that.
Awesome. Here's one for my son.
Love it.
Yeah, and he gets paid a lot of money to comment on the show, which is I need a show of hands on this question from Bruce. And by the way, if any of you that are out there that are watching, if you put a question in the comments, it comes right to us. Raise your hand if you use video in your business. All right, it looks like, Bruce, we got everybody. Deborah's challenged to use it more now, but yeah, we use it. And that doesn't mean you watch videos in your business, right? It means you actually use them for production. I did a video this morning. I didn't realize this, but there's 100 days left this year.
Wow.
100 days left in 2024. We're so consumed with what's going on in the media and election and rates and whatever else that we forget there's 100 days left to get what we want to get done. And I know that we can't change anything overnight that's going to change our outcome on December 31st. But what I called my video this morning was, this is day 1 of 100. So I would challenge all of you guys to figure out how you are tracking this year. Linda, even for you as a broker owner, how are you, events in your role, how are you tracking this year, and what can you do on day 1 of this other 100 to make it different? And if you're doing daily activities, you keep doing those daily activities. I'm well aware of that, but we all know that there's of those 100, there's really about 40 or 45 days left that you can get a listing or under contract, or a buyer under contract where it will close this year. So wake up call for me when I realized it's 100. It's amazing. Not long. This year's flown by. And in some regards, we're happy because we want to get to the rates in the 5% range, right? All right. So we've got like 18. Vince, did you have something you were going to say?
I was going to tell Bruce in response to his video question, and you'll find this cool as well, Deborah Lawton, who's been a theme of today's show. Social media video. I mean, he's 90 days in now, and that first transaction came from a video walkthrough he posted.
Wow.
And somebody reached out about that house, and he showed him a couple others, and it's going to close. So there you go, Bruce. If you're wondering about implementing that a little bit more, which I know you are.
Okay, so I have a question, or maybe we can pose a question. I'm gonna. This is a television person in me. I'm just wondering. I'd love to hear what, like, if there are the general public out there that maybe looking for a house, like, what would be the advice that we'd give them? And I'd love to hear it from everybody else. Like, just kind of. I'd love to just know what they've learned this year, what they've experienced this year, like how we could help somebody that might be watching that is in search of a home or selling a home.
Like, what advice would we give them right now based on current conditions?
Yeah, current conditions, or something that we learned this year that might be that we didn't expect to learn, or something. I would just love to know, because I'd love to know selfishly what you guys are experiencing or might have learned in a situation.
I would tell them, hey, we're in a sweet spot right now. We are in where interest rates are supposed to go down, and the house prices have not started rising yet. So you're in a good spot right now to purchase before the interest rates go further down and the house prices start going back up.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Sweet spot. I like it. Anybody else? Linda, maybe what you're counseling your agents, Erica, anything you've got, Vince? I know you're paying attention.
Well, apparently I'm the oldster in the room. My first house was 35.
I
What's
am. No, you're good. I'm the old one in the room. I was just going to give you that credit. Go ahead.
No, but I thought, oh, did I miss something there? Sorry.
No, sorry. I was distracting. My bad. Sorry.
Okay. No worries. I bought my first house. It was $35,000. It was 18% interest. I was a teacher making $1,300 a month, and that payment was $450.
Wow.
And, it was a struggle bus. And my husband's an illustrator, so he didn't get to count on the income, but we just knew we had to get started. And that, and when I tell people that, they're like, I would have never bought a house. And I said, but you know what? It allowed me to buy my second house. It allowed me to buy my third house. It allowed me to have control over, my monthly budget, because dang, that was tight. If I was renting and that would have gone up $100, that would have killed me. So, it's a bigger perspective that people have to understand. This is not an immediate gratification transaction. This is a long play. And it's the first real determiner of long-term wealth. So why are you putting it off? It's just like, why would you save and put a little bit of money in every single month? Oh, so I can have $1 million when I retire, so they need to get, again, kind of what I tell my agents, get to the 10,000 foot level and then come back in and put the plan in place.
Great.
Yeah.
I love that.
Love that. If I could chime in, what I would say, if I were in your shoes, Deborah or Kelly or Erica, where I was sitting with clients and customers every day, like you are, I would continue. What worked for me was digging deep to find out what someone's why or motive is.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a strong enough motive, like if you can figure out what that person is buying or selling for, and I would tell Mr. and Mrs. buyer or seller, if they're listening, when that why becomes greater than all of the other noise, like an example is, I got to be near my grandkids, or I have a health issue, or whatever it might be. My job, I'm retiring and I'm not going to wait anymore because I want to live somewhere warm. When that why outweighs all of the other noise, interest rates, oh gosh, there's an election, oh gosh, what if we have another COVID, all of those, that rest of that noise, the why greater than the noise, then you always win. And it's time to act. It doesn't matter what the market is when your why is greater than the noise.
That's great advice. That actually resonated with me, Tad. I think you just gave me some great advice.
Oh, well, wow. Well, I can find a good agent for you if you're looking in our markets. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
It's like, I think I got that covered.
I know you did. I was kidding. I was joking. Lawton will probably chime in. Lawton's going to chime in and say, I'll help you. All right. So I've got something else on. Erica, did you want to add anything there, or you want me to head on to the next topic?
I love what Linda was saying, because I've got a client right now who's really scared to take that jump from renting to buying. And so what you were saying, Linda, was really helpful. And I think I'm going to use some of your verbiage with her.
And Erica, the way that I like to say that, maybe this is good for saying it to a client. A friend of mine that I really respect in this business said this. When it comes from a third party, sometimes it's easier on the ears than you saying it. I know that because I talk a lot. I've learned a lot from talking a lot. I've said a lot of things the wrong way. So it's just a bit of advice. So I wanted to throw this out. This is a current event. We got 12 minutes left. It's amazing to me that we get through an hour this fast. It blows my mind. It'll be the fastest hour. My Peloton hour doesn't go this fast.
Not this fast.
Not this fast. I don't know if you watched the Today Show, but I happened to have it on in the background a couple of days ago. I think it was Willie Geist was talking about, it must have been on Sunday, I heard it in the background, talking about Amazon just made a huge announcement that starting in 2025, January 1, unless you have a written into your contract or have a special circumstance, you got to come to the office 3 out of 5 days now. You got to come back to work. And to me, like, I know Walmart has already said that, UPS has already said that, Citibank said that some months ago. But to me, the ultimate virtual company, like where you don't ever see a human being, like You do a return, no human. You make a phone call, no human. You order, no human. No shipping, no human. It doesn't matter. They have just said, the CEO said, come back to work. And I think it's fascinating. His reasoning was for culture, 2 words, culture and brainstorming.
100%. 100%.
Well, let's get some comments on that. Deborah, talk about that for a minute.
Well, I mean, I think, I started, again, everybody knows, I've mentioned it a couple of times. I started in the business of television. Well, we used to do every morning, we went in and we all sat around a table and we brainstormed. And I said this to my husband back in COVID. I mean, he works for Lincoln Financial. They didn't go back to the office for 2 years. And I said, I just really believe at some point in time, companies are going to realize that this isn't working to stay home and everybody's staying home. Production purposes, brainstorming purposes, culture purposes. We are not meant to be alone in a room. We are meant to have relationships. I think it was Kelly who said, I base my business around relationships. And that's what good business is all about. It's about building relationships within a team, sharing ideas, with a coffee in your hand or at somebody's desk. I mean, to me, it makes total sense. I agree with what you're saying, Tad. I mean, talk about the ultimate internet business, Amazon. But I think that people or companies are going to realize as time goes on, and now we're 4 years, almost 5 years past COVID, that it's not the same. It's just not the same at all. Mm-hmm. And my husband has a trip every year, international trip. He hosts high performers who sell Lincoln product. And when people get together for those trips, I mean, they're just, people are hugging and they're excited to see each other. And there's a connection that happens. And a connection, as much as this is awesome to be able to do this, it's not the same kind of connection as being in the same room with people. So it doesn't surprise me.
Erica, what do you think? Kelly, let me get Erica real quick. I just want to ask. I think you might be the youngest on the show today, except for some of you listening in. But for somebody who grew up more in a virtual setting than I might have, what do you think of that? What do you think of Amazon? And this is opinion, by the way. I should have said that at the very beginning. You're not going to get shot for your opinion. What do you guys think? What do you think, Erica?
I mean, I think I totally agree with what Deborah's saying about being in person and brainstorming. And I'm a people person. I like to sit down and have that connection and have that face-to-face. I also like the flexibility. I mean, that's kind of why I almost didn't go back to teaching, because the grind of the same schedule all day long, and there was zero flexibility. So I wonder, those people changed their schedule and were now working from home for so long, and then got that message they got to come back that certain number of days a week. That's a big shift. That's a big shift for them from what they've been used to. So that might be a little stressful.
It's interesting, Kelly. I'll come to you next, but it's interesting. And Linda, I saw you waving your hands. You've got something to say too. I want to get in. But there's this employer, not fight, but difference of opinion. Quite a few of the employees are saying, "Go ahead and make me. I'll quit." And there's some sides of it that think that's exactly why Amazon's doing it, because they're trying to thin the herd a little bit, save some payroll dollars, or be able to open the doors to better talent that is more. Because a lot of the at-home people, are you as productive? Maybe the 5 or 6 of us are, but is the general public more productive at home? That's the question. But I love that you share that, Erica, because I think there is, we didn't choose to go virtual, but a lot of people moved. A lot of people said, I'm going to go work from the beach because quality of life, and et cetera, et cetera. And now they're taking that away from them. So it will be interesting to see. Kelly, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, when new people come in and Vince will say, hey, go talk to Kelly. I always tell them the biggest thing is come into the office, get to know people. Any of the other agents that even may have been here for a while, I say, you need to be in the office. You need to go to these classes. You need to go to training. You need to get around as many people as possible, because you can learn a whole lot from these people, especially the ones who've been in the business for a long time. Just listen. You don't have to necessarily, if you feel weird about going to them and talking to them, just listen. They don't care if you listen in on their conversations. If they did, they close the door. But you'll be surprised how much you learn when you're in a setting with other people that are doing the same thing you are.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, good. Linda, did you want to add to it, or Vince?
With our newer agents, we put them right away with a mentor or they go on a team, and they need that human connection. I'm finding that more and more because of COVID that people want kind of the easy button as far as, can I just send an email? Can I just send a text? And then I say, why don't you send a video text? And why don't you do it again? And why don't you pick up the phone and have a conversation, But we've lost those skills because we've been able to do things, on a keyboard, not, face to face, that kind of thing. So I think there's some skills that have been lost, and I think there's some real opportunity to redevelop those also. And I think some people will be a little bit healthier mentally, just, because humans are social beings. End of story. That's how we're wired, although, my husband's an artist, so he's kind of a loner guy. But when he gets out, he is a very social person. There's both sides to all of us. So anyway, that's my 2 cents worth.
Yeah, I'm thankful that I'm not in the position of the CEO of Amazon to have to make a decision like that. But
Yeah.
what a big statement. Vince, you have something to add?
Yeah, so this is a contradictory for me because I think there's two avenues of talent. In 2024, as we progress as a society into technology, I think that's a skill that's going to be very, very important to leverage by potentially not having to come in, et cetera. However, the other part of me goes, I believe we're one person away from changing the trajectory of our entire life. So by me leaving my home and going into the office like Amazon is requiring, I increase my chances of meeting someone that's going to positively impact my future by 100%.
Totally
As
agree
if,
with that.
as if I weren't in the office, right? So I look back at, like I said, data, right? What in my life, who have I met? Who have I spoken to? Who have I interacted with that's led me to where I am now or towards my version of success? And that's always happened in person. So I'm a big proponent of being around people. That's me. Also, Tad has a great friend and Remax owner, Tyler Morton, who can create an AI version of himself that you think you're speaking with him and you're not, and it feel real. And he's leveraging that for his goals. So man, I need more time on that one, Tad.
Hey, real quick, on that same, what you just said, Vince. So I just saw something the other day, and was Steve Jobs talking when he was very, very young. And basically he was saying he picked up the phone and he was looking to get to find some kind of work when he was, and he wound up calling Hewlett Packard. He picked up the phone, he called Hewlett Packard, he went in, and then Hewlett Packard gave him a job in this manufacturing line, putting together, what he wanted to do is technology. So it goes directly to what you're saying. Now, granted, I'm going back to Steve Jobs and I'm going back all those years, but that still exists today. It's just exactly what you said. We're 100% away from one person making a difference in their life. And that's an example. And look at what he did, and so it's kind of getting back to an old philosophy. And I think there's a balance. Like Amazon didn't say everybody's got to come in 5 days a week. They're still including flexibility. They're saying 3 days a week at a minimum. So there's that flexibility to be able to work some from home and some. And I think this generation, the American Academy of Pediatrics has raised adolescents to the age of 27 because nobody knows how to pick up the phone anymore. I'm finding agents aren't picking the phone, kind of like Linda was saying. Mm-hmm. Anymore. Everything's a text. I'm like, oh my goodness gracious, pick up the phone. Like it's so much faster. Yeah. And, let's disseminate information, the way that we used to. There's a lot to that question, Tad. I agree with you. Vince.
Yeah.
To Deborah and Linda's point, sorry, Tad. In an effort to help people rise up in real estate or any business, I know I have some other people that tune in who are business owners, not in the industry. You don't want the first conversation you've had with an outside human other than your family to be at the dining room table trying to get that listing, right? Or to be in that office trying to get that contract for whatever your job is. So Linda says we've lost that skill. We absolutely have. So at least coming in is going to have, in our industry, real face-to-face, which is where the pen gets to the paper at the end of the day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So I'll end with this. Like, this is what I think. You didn't ask, but I'm going to share. You know what I don't like? Like, my ears are not level. Like, these are both on my ears, This ear is higher. I don't. That's the weird. No one. I'm 55 years old. No one ever
I
told me that.
noticed that. I just didn't want to say anything. Ted.
Yes.
Well, usually I have one of them off, but today I've got them both on. My ears are not level, so that's
Oh,
terrible. But
God.
anyway, here's what if Amazon would have said, "Hey, we miss you.
Yeah.
We want you in the office more because we want our company to look, feel, taste, smell like you, not like me. I want you around more. I just want." If he'd have said that, that's totally different to me. The second thing is, in my opinion, in relationships, like you take your marriage if you're married or your kids or whatever, if we're trying to be in relationship with our employees like we're in other relationships, there are 5 senses. And virtually, like as much as fun as this has been today, like I can't smell you. And Vince is like, thank goodness, right? But
Not
I
creepy
can't-
at all.
I can't.
Yeah,
Well, I
not at
can't touch you. I don't sense all of you, right? You're only doing, like, if I were to turn our video off, like some people will listen just to the audio of this on Spotify. That's why we added the video part last year and started doing it like this, because if you just listen to the audio, you don't get to see Linda nodding her head. You don't get to see Vince agreeing with Deborah. Now there's a new relationship. We didn't even know that there could be Erica have a relationship with Deborah. You would have never known that if you're just listening to the audio and you're missing the video. So in my opinion, for all of us, and I think it's true with customers and clients too, like the quicker, what is your strength, Deborah? All of our strengths is who we are as a person. And the more I can show that to someone, that's why I think that text is the worst. In person is the best. Well, email might be, I don't know. You got to give them more of the touches. And I think it's true in the workplace. I want to challenge you guys. Like if you're an agent and you have a broker owner or you have a team leader, team member, Linda, you have agents. If your agents are listening, which I hope they are, think about the kind of relationship that Linda misses by you not being in the office. She misses you. We're making assumptions based on your absence that might be based on our insecurities. Like maybe we're like, oh gosh, I'm not doing what I need to do for those people because they're not in the office. Consider that. So my favorite thing is on this call, you guys are present. Erica, you're in the office. Deborah, I know you are at your home in Greensboro. Kelly, you're in the office right now. So props to you. But let me just say thank you for being on our show today. The 4 of you, especially Vince has done this before, but it takes a lot of courage to speak up and put your face and name out there. I hope it enhances your network to some degree. I hope you've learned something, but thank you. Any parting words from anyone? You want to wrap the show up before I say my nonsense?
Thank you, Tad, for inviting me. This has been a lot of fun. I have absolutely enjoyed meeting Linda, Erica, and Kelly, and Vince, and you. I mean, This has been awesome. So, as I sit here in North Carolina, hoping to make my way to South Carolina, I feel a connection now with everybody that I didn't have at 9 a.m. this morning. And so I'm very grateful for that. It makes me feel a part of something I'm not yet a part of. So thank you, Tad.
You're welcome. And who gets the credit for that? This is the cool thing. Like, you get the credit because you chose to show up, and we get the credit because we gave you what you were looking for. So it's a two-way street. So thanks for being here. Rise Up Nation, thanks for tuning in. If you're listening to us on Spotify, all you got to do is click subscribe or I liked it or whatever, and you'll get notification every time. If you're on YouTube, hit the little bell. It'll let you know next Monday when we go live. We'll have a whole different slate of guests. It might be somebody that you really want to be. Hey, it might be you, Lori or Bruce. Who knows? But thank you, guys. Vince, thanks for co-hosting. We appreciate you very much.
Thanks,
Much
guys.
success.
Thank
Yeah, we
you.
love
Make
you
it a
guys.
great day.
Yeah, make it a great day. We'll see you guys soon.
Thank you.
Oh, we got to throw this up here for Vince.
Always. I want Deborah to do the sign off. Signing off from North Carolina.
Hey, everybody, have a great day.